Welcome to Christian Statesman. I'm your host, Zach Wagner, and this is episode 45, Eddie the Eschatologist. Today I want to talk to you about a good friend of mine. Let's call him Eddie. Eddie recently had an interesting development in his life. Eddie became an eschatologist. Eschatology is a term technically defined as a part of theology concerned with the final events of history or the ultimate destiny of humanity. This concept is commonly referred to as the end of the world or end times. It also includes the part of theology concerned with death, judgment, and the final destiny of the soul and of humankind. Eddie was an early 50-something vice president of sales for a large technology company. He had been one of their top salespeople for years. Eddie made a tremendous income and was enjoying the finer things in life. Eddie was very competitive. He held a low handicap at the local country club and enjoyed playing friends and acquaintances alike for money games on the golf course. And Eddie often triumphed in those games. Eddie was a winner in his friends' and colleagues' eyes, the quintessential alpha male example of one who had made it, and made it big. About 2 years ago, Eddie began to feel poorly. His abdomen ached badly, and he was losing energy. A trip to the doctor's office and a few tests brought horrible news. Eddie had cancer in multiple organs. It was advanced, aggressive, and inoperable. The doctor gave Eddie 3 to 5 months to live at the most. It was devastating news. After Eddie returned home, he spent several days in stunned reflection. He had come so far, done so much, built a good life for himself and his family. His company needed him. He was the core of their sales force, after all. But as the days wore on, something began to happen to Eddie. When he awoke in the morning, he began to notice things he had never really noticed before. The song of the birds chirping in the trees outside his bedroom window came into his consciousness. He'd never noticed how pleasant such sounds were. He noticed his wife had changed her hair, and he suddenly realized she did a number of small things to make their home more pleasant and comfortable. He had not noticed this before. Eddie felt he had been neglectful of her over the years as he pursued his own ambitions. He felt he needed to make up for that lost time. Eddie had 2 children in high school. He suddenly felt a desire to spend more time with them. He canceled several domestic and overseas sales trips to see his oldest son play in high school baseball games. Eddie wanted to spend more and more time being with the ones he cared for most. Eddie left his expensive suits in the closet. He began dressing in casual, comfortable clothes. The office drifted further and further away for him. Eddie's buddies at the country club were beginning to wonder why he was not showing up for their weekly game. Eddie discovered the old family Bible on a bookshelf at home one day. He felt compelled to pick it up. He opened to the New Testament and began to read. The words and teachings of Jesus reached down deep into his soul and began to stir a long-ignored desire. Eddie wanted to know, to truly understand, what was going to happen to him when he died. He'd never thought much about it. For days, then weeks, Eddie immersed himself in the Scriptures. The words of Jesus and the New Testament apostles came alive for him. And Eddie felt for the first time that these words were describing something more important, a greater reality than Eddie had previously considered. Eddie was learning about the eternal destiny and consequences of his own soul. Eddie was slowly becoming an eschatologist. Eddie went to a circle of friends and tried to discuss these marvelous spiritual discoveries he was making. He was a bit surprised when they nodded condescendingly and did not seem interested. In fact, he thought they might be talking about him, mocking him behind his back. They did not call much anymore, but why did they not understand? Could they not see what Eddie was seeing, what he now was forced to understand? His time was running out. He realized that sooner or later all of our time would run out. Eddie now understood that his knowledge of truth and the love he gave to others was all that truly mattered. Eddie had changed. About 2 months later, Eddie's doctor phoned. A terrible mistake had been made. The examination records had somehow been switched. Eddie did not have cancer after all, but had been suffering from a mild flare-up of appendicitis. If it occurred again, the doctor recommended a simple procedure to take care of the problem could be undertaken. Eddie and his family were relieved, but he also was now a changed man. He was a true eschatologist. He could never go back to life the way it was. Eddie had begun to see the value of the soul in the eternal teachings of Christ. There was no turning back, no way to unsee what he now so clearly saw. His life was renewed, but Eddie is now working to build a new life, one more in line with the eternal values he had been forced to so rapidly internalize in the face of supposed certain disaster. Eddie's story applies to all of us. We will all eventually face the end of one order of things, that of mortal life. Can we understand before that call comes where our priorities should be? Can we discern the importance of that which is temporary to that which is eternal? If you met Eddie today, he would be anxious to help you understand the difference. He is a man truly worth listening to, a winner of a new and different sort, a truly enlightened eschatologist. Thank you for being with us today. Please subscribe, tell your friends, and as always, have a blessed day.